Here are 7 ways independent artists can make money without a record deal. What's up? It's Amaya the Professor. I'm here to share with you 7 ways independent artists can make money without a record deal. Let's get to it. First of all, most independent artists think there's only one path to getting paid for your music, and it runs through a record label. Someone signs you, gives you an advance, which is technically a loan, and suddenly you've made it. But that problem, that model actually is dead for 99% of the artists. And really, when you look back at history and what's happened in history, it was never as good as it looked. So if you take a look at the landscape now, many people, independent artists, people with no label, no A&R, no advance, are building real income. They're building it not on exposure, not on vibes, just real revenue from multiple directions, like I like to call it your ecosystem, and that it adds up to a sustainable career. Now, I've spent my career on both sides of this. As a DJ, a coach, working with independent artists, and a music business professor. So I'm going to give you the theory. I'm going to give you 7 revenue streams that are working right now, how they function, and what you need to do to start collecting money you're probably leaving on the table. Stream number 1 is streaming royalties. Now, we know that streaming pays artists. I like to really say it's more like marketing, but it can start to pay you pennies, which can then get to be nickels, dimes, and eventually dollars. But you need to make sure you're set up to collect more of the money and don't make these 2 mistakes. So there's pretty much three or 4 main distributors. You have CD Baby, you have TuneCore, you have DistroKid. They're pretty different. DistroKid is fast and cheaper, but functions more like a subscription. CD Baby takes a small percentage, but has stronger publishing administration built into it. So if you're releasing frequently, lots of singles, and costs matter, pay attention to CD Baby. If you're trying to catch every royalty stream, admin support matters more. Now, the second mistake within all this is not understanding the difference between the master royalties and the mechanical royalties. That's important. When your song streams, 2 different copyrights get paid. The recording on the master, I like to say the right side, and then the composition, which is the song itself, the lyrics, the melody. If you're only collecting on one side, and most people only collect on the right side, which is the master recording, you're leaving money on the table for every stream. The fix is pretty simple, but you just need to make sure most artists skip it. You need to make sure you're registered correctly on both sides. A distributor for the master, and we'll cover the composition side a little bit later in the video. Now, the second stream is one of my favorites that I personally think has the most room to grow throughout the entire industry, and it's called sync licensing. Okay. I think this is one of the most underestimated and underused income streams for independent artists. And when I'm speaking in my classes and at industry events, it's the one I get the most questions about. And, I just got back from the Guild of Music Supervisors annual conference. It's the one I'm learning the most about too. To keep it simple, sync licensing is when your song is placed in a TV show, a movie, a commercial, video game, or a trailer. And if you look at the money that gets paid, on average, one sync placement can outpay years of streaming. So, for example, a song placed in a mid-sized TV drama can generate more in a single licensing fee than tens of millions streams combined. And then it also generates streams after the episode airs because people are going to go look for your song, and then they're going to stream it, maybe they buy it, follow you, etc. So here's kind of a couple things that many artists get wrong about sync. They think it's about connections. It's really about making sure your catalog is ready. And when we say ready, make sure everything is clear. There's no samples. You have everything signed so that if you have some collaborators that have worked with you, they've agreed to let you manage the sync operation. It's very important. Music supervisors move very fast and they build their system on trust. If your song isn't cleared, meaning you own or control both the master and the publishing, the right and the left sides, with no ambiguity, music supervisor will skip you and go on to the next artist whose paperwork is clean. So here are 3 things. You need to make sure that you are sync ready. You have clean, undisputed ownership of both the master and publishing rights. You need to have instrumental and stems available for every version of your songs on request. Like, make sure it's all there. You can use disco to put like an instrumental version and then your main version, your acapella. I would recommend having a Dropbox with all the stems ready also. Another thing that you need to make sure, and this was really reiterated at the Guild of Music Supervisors event, is that you need to make sure your metadata is tight, and preferably you need to embed it into the actual song. Meaning if you have the MP3, make sure it's tagged and there's data in there that will show people who owns the song, the splits, the mood, genre tagging. Just make sure when music supervisors and sync libraries want to search, they can search something and your song will pop up. I think if you're looking at this video and you want to take one action out of the 7 I give you, I think sync licensing is the way. I always tell my students, outside of streaming, which grows just because more people are getting apps and streaming, this is the one that has the most room for growth, in my opinion, because they're adding more shows on networks like HBO Max, Netflix, Hulu. They all need music. And we're not even talking about the video games, the smaller mobile games, trailers. There's so much content out there that needs music, even social media. There's a lot of opportunity there. So in conclusion, this sync licensing will reward artists for treating your catalog like a business asset. It's more than just creativity. Okay. Now, number 3, another stream, the publishing royalties through your PROs. PRO is a performance rights organization in the United States. You have ASCAP, BMI, CSAC. Those are the 3 most popular ones. It's basically free money, and I see most independent artists kind of sleep on this. I still meet artists, some artists who are very successful that are unsure, not signed up for our PRO, and just don't even know how it works or how to properly register their music in the beginning. And then once they're playing out in public, you can also send in your kind of cue sheets too. Now, PROs, publishing, the performance rights when your song is performed publicly, streamed, played on the radio, played in a bar, performed live. The composition itself generates royalties separate from the recording. So this is like the left side. I'll show you the diagram. Those get collected by a performance rights organization. Like I said before, ASCAP, BMI, CSAC. Now, if you're not registered with one of them, you're not collecting that money. You're leaving it on the table. Someone else might be collecting it, or maybe no one, and it's sitting unclaimed, and then it drifts off into what's called the black box. Also, there are 2 organizations that many artists are not familiar with yet. The MLC, the Mechanical Licensing Collective. This collects mechanical royalties from streaming, specifically for the composition side. Once again, it's the left side. If you're not registered here, digital mechanical royalties are piling up that you can't touch. SoundExchange. This one is different. It collects royalties from non-interactive digital platforms like satellite radio, like XM, Sirius XM radio, and internet radio. Think Sirius XM and Pandora. Most artists have never registered for SoundExchange, so there could be some money sitting unclaimed indefinitely. It hurts my heart. So you need to do 3 things. You need to register with your PRO, the MLC, and SoundExchange. In total, it takes about an hour. Most of it's free or a one-time submission fee. And this is the one action on the list I'm sharing with you. You probably get the most ROI for quickly because you're not really hustling and looking for new income. It's about collecting income that you're already generating. All right, stream number 4. This is live performance and touring, but reimagining it. When people hear touring, they picture a 40-city run from the West Coast of the United States all the way over to the East Coast, from LA to New York. And, if you're a smaller artist, you might have to do this on the road, be like a van or a little bus. But independent touring, it doesn't have to look like that anymore. I like to recommend a scaled down, higher margin live performances. So house concerts and private events. And I'll kind of list, there's 3 or 4 different companies that specialize in house concerts that you can sign up for, and people can solicit your availability. Those platforms connect you directly to the host, and they'll pay you flat, guaranteed fees with the audience that's really invested and ready to get there. I like to combine house concerts with tours in smaller venues as you go into a regional tour. Corporate and private bookings, this one is really slept on. Companies will pay well for live music at events, and they're not even going to compare you to like a big act in an arena. They're going to compare you to a DJ or a local cover band. There are associations that you can join, such as Meeting Professionals International, PCMA, ASAE, and SITE, Society for Incentive Travel Executives, that have meeting and event planners who plan events all over the world where they need music. You could be the opening act for a corporate event. This will pay you substantial money, more than you might get from a sync placement, from 6 months of streaming, don't sleep on corporate and private events. I've got my career started working with MPI, and I think this is one where live artists, musicians can really capitalize on moving forward. Now, when you're routing your tour, route it regionally instead of nationally. For example, if you're in Southern California, maybe you go up to Central California and back down to Southern California, or you go up to Northern California and then you go out to Nevada and then back down. But a regional tour, you don't have to go across the country. That'll lower your travel costs and also give you a higher per show profitability here. So the goal for touring is really, you're not really trying to scale it, especially when you're up and coming. You just want to continue to have a high profit margin in every city you stop in. Play at a local gig, do a corporate event, do a house concert, rinse and repeat every time. All right, stream number 5 is one of my favorites, direct fan to artist or artist to fan monetization. So this is one I like because it gives you a little more leverage than many major label artists because you own the relationship. The common theme you'll hear when I'm sharing about the music business is you want to own your audience. You never get to know who's following you on Spotify. It's hard to monetize your audience when they're following you on an Instagram or YouTube, although I love YouTube and I think it's important. But you want to grow your email list and you want to grow your community. You can do that through direct fan to artist monetization. Some of the favorite tools are membership platforms like Patreon. This gives you a recurring monthly income from your most dedicated fans in exchange for early access, behind the scenes content, exclusive releases. Maybe even you can do a monthly Zoom with your top subscribed people on Patreon. Lots of things you could do that are low lift. You can also then, you want to add on, you always want to collect email addresses, but then the next step is to collect cell phone numbers through direct messaging platforms like Subtext, like Laylo, also Superphone. These are text-based fan communication platforms. They convert at a far higher rate than social media posts because it feels personal and it bypasses this whole algorithm. I have to look up the stat, but I read a stat where it was like approximately 90% of the direct-to-fan text messages, people open that, compared to, I want to say, 30% for email. And then when you put up a post on social media, maybe 1% of your fans, your followers will see it. So you can see how it goes up like that. You can also do a pre-save and release campaign through tools like Laylo. This will help you build anticipation and get fans ready when your next release drops. And then bundle in merch. We love a good t-shirt. We love a good hoodie, especially as the seasons change. Pairing physical or digital merch, which can be, you can do virtual stickers, actual stickers, digital MP3s, anything that can fall into the merch category, bundle it, and it helps to increase your average revenue per fan. And you don't need more fans. The goal here, specifically, I like to preach and talk about 1,000 true fans. If you can get 1,000 true fans to spend $100 a year, that gives you $100,000. And that's a great foundation to start from. All right. Another one that I'm kind of doing some more research on it and really trying to dig in, especially for independent artists, is brand partnerships and sponsorships. Most artists assume brand deals are reserved for people who have 1 million followers, but that's not true anymore. Brands increasingly want people that have specific niches that they're following, and their audience can continue to be more active than if you have a much broader audience. So you can get paid for several things. Sponsored content that fits naturally into your existing platform. A good example would be, if you really love your coffee, get a coffee brand to sponsor a studio session video. Me, I love hot chocolate, so I have to go out and find a hot chocolate video or hot chocolate sponsor. But same thing. Or smoothie. I like my smoothie too. So whatever works for you and it reflects you, get it in there. Affiliate partnerships with gear, plugins, or platforms you already use. Like if you're a singer and you have a certain brand of guitar that you use, there you go. If you're a DJ, certain mixer you like to use, headphones, all that. See if you get affiliate partnerships. So maybe if they're not paying you to show the kind of platform or the device on screen, if you have a certain code where your fans can go and buy it, then you get a little payout. That's affiliate right there. And then your local and regional business sponsorships. This one is slept on. Like maybe you can work out a sponsorship with a big regional lawyer. or, other kind of local areas too. If it's like a local restaurant too, you would be surprised at what's available, especially if you're traveling around in the same region where a restaurant or a coffee shop, etc., has a big presence. You just want to make sure, the key is you want to make sure that you're clear with your audience. You know who your audience is, you know what products they like, and then you can approach these brands, sell them, and see who wants to partner with you, and you'd be surprised. This is what I'm learning a lot about, so we'll continue to give you updates. And finally, stream number 7, it's like teaching, coaching, and licensing your expertise. One of the most popular ways that many artists do this is by offering lessons. They offer lessons in terms of if they know how to sing, play the piano, guitar. That's a quick kind of low lift way. You can also create a class online, do that. This one takes a little time, but consider yourself an expert and not just a performer. A lot of independent artists also have experience with production knowledge, mixing, beat making, arranging, songwriting, and top line writing. That's a good one. If you take this one in songwriting, you go back to the corporate events, many times corporate meeting planners want something interactive with their audience. And if you're teaching the audience how to write a song, that's gold. So for all my songwriters and singers, keep that in mind for the corporate events. And then just how someone helped or coached you or showed you the way, who can you show the way that's maybe an up and coming or a newer artist? They might invest in some coaching from you, some classes or a call. Don't sleep. This is one where if you can build it into your schedule and add it, this revenue, it just helps you. It helps you get to your goals and things like that. So it depends on your knowledge. It compounds over time, and it doesn't reset over every new release. It just gives you more and more audience to do that. So this one is more turning an independent artist into an independent entrepreneur. So keep this one in mind too. All right, so that's 7 real active revenue streams: streaming, sync, publishing royalties, live performance, direct to fan, artist to fan platforms, brand partnerships, and teaching your expertise. None of them require a label, and none of them require someone else's permission. Okay, so maybe if you take one action away from this video, go register with your PRO, register with the MLC and SoundExchange this week. It's free, it takes under an hour, and it's money that you're already generating that's sitting unclaimed for now. Everything else on the list is about building, but collect what's yours right now. Okay. If you want help building out a full monetization schedule across these 7 streams, figure out which one fits your genre, your catalog, your stage of your career, that's what I do inside of the Amani Experience. I'll drop a link in the comment where you can set up a free 45-minute call with me. We can talk about your business model, where you want to go, and where you have been in the past. Okay, drop me a comment. Tell me which one of the 7 streams that you're going to try to implement right away. Thank you for watching. Well, thank you very much for watching. This has been Amani the Professor. See you next time.